This guy, known as the fixer of the city, handling top grades, debt collection, and making a lot of money, left that life to become addicted to a hyped virtual reality game. Little did he know that this would plunge him into so much debt and lead him to accept the invitation from the game's chief to start a new game, but this time, if he dies, there's no coming back. The story begins in the Demon Castle, with a man laughing loudly, saying he can't believe that such a humble creature has managed to get this far with such a wrecked body, but he admits that the skill of this kid is somewhat impressive. Thus, the demon begins to unleash a hellish killing intent, aiming directly at the Asueli door, also known as Randy, and this demon king was the 7th in rank, known as Farsa. At that moment, Jaeon vanished, and the demon shut up, as his era was ending there. Then, Jaeon charged at him with the Empirical Sword, 12th form, called Killer Cut. But at that moment, to his surprise, a status window appeared right in front of him, stating that the connection to the server had been lost. Then, Farda sighed and said he was full of flaws, but our boy, quite scared, asked him to wait a little and just told him to stop attacking. However, Farsen did not care at all and sliced his body in half. Thus, the control network of the Demon of Huberk failed miserably, and the warrior Randion was killed. After that, the scene shifts to his apartment, with some people asking if he was still gaming, and one just told them to wake up. Then, they started shaking that capsule, but in that second, he became very nervous, saying he accidentally pulled the power cable. Right in front of him, there was a bloodthirsty demon staring at him, while Jian asked, very angry, if he was the one who pulled the network cable. While that extra just begged for forgiveness, our Prota said he was practically at the end and had almost succeeded. It was all that idiot's fault. The others ran to assist him, while it was mentioned that his name was Randy Eon, and it might seem like he was a gaming addict, but in fact, he was very popular and was called the Fixer in Hana, also known as Hana's Brain or Money Demon. He had a decent life, but after a while, he realized how trivial it all was, and everything he was obsessed with went down the drain the moment he saw it. The masterpiece of Superior Aquila, a game of absurd quality. The Salva Orifo or Manager was this game that changed his life. He is basically a single-player RPG with a huge open world, and for someone who had never even read an illustrated book, that world was surreal, completely magical. Meeting the beautiful characters of all kinds and their stories captivated him and transformed him into who he is today. He, who only moved around with money, took a loan, and after he took the loan, bought a gaming capsule for 1 billion wons. Everyone can call him crazy, but he doesn't care. So his friend asks how he can treat him like that, especially after he invested in his game. While Hyro looked at him, he just said he understood, but asked if it wasn't him who ended up covering all the golf escapades without his wife knowing, sulking without the company being aware, spending idles for 10 years. It was all because of him, and that guy next to him asked if he really thinks he can say something like that after taking $1 billion just for a game. While Johnfer, coming from anger, asked what he just said. The guy, trembling with fear, just apologizes, but asks if he really thinks he can pay that off by writing that guide. Thus, the protagonist starts to remember all the difficulties he had in the game, finding strange plants, facing huge monsters, going through treasures and everything else. The only thing he thought about was finishing this game. What he wanted to do was a dungeon guide, but after he saw his bank account, he was completely shocked, thinking he was in serious trouble. At that moment, his colleagues ask why he doesn't work with them again, and he resolves everything in Hana, the Randion. But our boy says no, because he still hasn't seen the end of this game, and that's all he wants, the true ending that no one has managed to reach. And that's the least he can do to thank this world for everything it taught him. Basically, he kicks everyone out, telling them to go away as the workday is over. After they leave, he returns to his capsule and starts staring at it, going back to his game and appearing in the Baya Cathedral. His name is Aso Elidor, and because of what happened on the ride, he has his death penalty temporarily suspended for 22 hours. He starts to get even angrier, questioning what he will do to earn money now. But to Gion's surprise, someone says he seems to be struggling with something. When our boy looks, he wonders who it is, but at that moment a little girl appears coming in his direction. As he stares at her, he asks who this girl is, and she, very excited, says her name is Aquila and that she is the master of the game Savior of Humanity. While Jion finds it very funny, he really believes it's all true, but he's quite excited. He says yes, that it tells him not to judge a book by its cover. He asks if she really thinks he will believe that just because her name is Aquila. But to his shock, she snaps her fingers and the entire universe falls under her command. Meanwhile, the day wonders what is happening and if it really imagines stopping time. And it should be, at the very least, an SSS rank ability. But she walks up to him and says it's not an ability and that she just knocked the server down a little bit. He asks if he believes her now, but she says, well, she thought of a new event for the 7th anniversary and asks if he wants to know what it's about. He asks what she means by event, and she shows him that at 12 o'clock a new world has been opened and that he should be the first to clear the game in this new world with a new character. While he is left wondering what she's talking about, he is still finished with this character and already wants to start another one. So he asks her if she's crazy, but she quickly says that the reward is 25 billion ons. While he stares at her with that sly look, she asks if he's scared, making him boil with anger even more. As Letitia piques his curiosity, she asks if he doesn't want to see the true ending of this game. She locks eyes with him and says it really exists, and that she could even give him the clues to reach the true ending, leaving him very shocked. He shakes with anxiety, wanting to touch that, but she just tells him to wait and says that if he tries now, he'll get a bonus. While another status window appears as the one she just sent him shows 30 million ons, then she shows him a ranking, saying he is in first place with so much money spent. She, very excited, says he is her VIP after all. He gets very excited about this, drooling with anticipation, while thinking that at least this month's interest is guaranteed. He tells her he would be an idiot to say no to an event like this, so he wants to try. She, all animated, says she knew he would try, and that's what's expected from a top-ranking player. Then she's going to send him right now and start saying a spell while various runes appear on her body. After that, a dimension appears in her mind as she starts uploading this new world, and everything begins to integrate into a new universe. At that moment, both of them are teleported to another dimension. She points to that door, saying it will take him to a new world. He asks if it's a magic door, and she just replies, yes. He, very excited, asks if the game will start as soon as he enters the door, and she confirms that's right. As he walks past her, he opens up and stares at the new world. But before that, he turns, telling her not to forget about her cash reward. Finally, he passes through the door, as now he wants to see the real ending. But before he goes, she mentions that she forgot something. Just a little thing, that if his character dies in this event, he will die in real life. Well, this leaves Jaeon completely shocked, thinking that he's really screwed now. As he steps through the door, he falls into this new world, falling towards the forest while realizing that his body is aching. So this game is really real, and that damn girl was actually a complete demon. He gets angrier, saying screw it, and that he himself will beat this game, declaring that it's a total disaster. He's going to show her the real ending of this crap. Thus, time moves on. A few hours pass, and he's dying of thirst, his body shaking, while he thinks about that damn girl. He says he won't forgive her for sure, and as he deactivates the status window, he realizes that his state is dehydrated, and that his character is complete junk, with only 20 health points and 3 mana points. He remarks that he has only walked for 12 hours and is already dehydrated. How the hell is he going to get the happy ending with this garbage character? Just then, he hears the sound of water and gets really excited, saying yes, that's the sound of water, and runs over there. He exclaims that he finally found it, and thank God he read How to Survive by Bear Grylls. He starts drinking the water, and his health goes up, but then he notices another person's presence. Seeing this woman bathing, he starts drooling over her, and the status window says that just by looking at her, he lost 1 HP. While drooling, he wonders who this goddess in front of him is. The girl turns to him, and he gets even more excited. Just as the window pops up in front of his eyes, he asks if he has to pay for the DLC, please. He becomes very indignant, asking how it can be, and if she really wants a VIP to pay for a DLC. However, to Jaeon's shock, 4 women appear right behind him, saying that after seeing that, he's going to have to pay. He, still drooling, turns to see who it is while asking how much it is. After a few minutes, finally captured, he is thrown into a room where 5 witches are. He stands there saying he's a really perverted little boy, and that woman who is bathing says that if he stays quiet, she'll consider letting him keep his pants on. This guy, on one side, asks if he is okay, while Day 1 said that at least she should say how much he has to pay. This extra asks what he means by that. While the protagonist simply states that it's nothing, the little hairy one says he understands and introduces himself as Rude, a monster hunter. Our boy says his name is Velo and asks how he ended up there. As he mentions it was bad luck, he ended up near the witch's forest while chasing his prey, and it truly was bad luck. He asks Rude how he ended up there, and Jean just says it's something similar to his story and it wasn't anything special. The hunter says he doesn't exactly know what Velo went through to get there, but it's quite unfortunate. He looks very young, while John just says it's fine. As he picks up a bone, he says that this kind of situation is his specialty. The hunter asks if he has a plan, while he thinks it's obvious he does, because he was the one who wrote how to defeat those witches. It took him 3 tireless whole days, and he thinks these are the 5 witches of Raziel. This title was given to them because they appear in the Raziel forest, and their names are Gunda, Kaldura, Aldaida, Afugo, and lastly, Reijuju. Although they are initial bosses that players need to face, thousands have died at their hands, and they are well known for that. But there's also another point he knows very well. If you look at this group, they are a very poorly organized bunch, and he is drooling over quoting that. In the meantime, the hunter asks what the hell that face is, and that's Dayon. He says that now that he thinks about it, he wants to know how a fire law is still alive. As he asks how come for her, he mentions that he remembers the law of King Juju stated he would kill her. While the redhead tells him to shut up, to her surprise, the very angry Fogo asks how could she be killed, and who the hell would say something like that? Our boy thinks that's right. This Fogo hates King Juju, and he starts to incite them, saying that he's sure she said she would kill her and take all her belongings. She gets very mad, asking if that's true while he questions if she really believes him. But besides that, it's not like she would use all the money, so why not give him a little? John thinks that yes, Reijuju stole Fogo's possessions, and that's excellent. And Daida says she has some, that's why she was making an acid bomb. While Gunda says whatever, she asks when the food will be ready. The four-eyed newbie asks when they will fight, if she can join them, and they start arguing over several different things. While our spider thinks that yes, this is what he wanted, he successfully provoked them. And everything is going according to your plan. And someone might think that they work as a team because of the title, but they are not a united team. She doesn't know how to work in a team, and people struggle with her without realizing it. That's why thousands die, but it's very easy to make them fight among themselves. And if he tells Rudy they should seize that opportunity and escape quickly, while the hunter says he's really amazing. Just at that moment, he steps on a carpet and says that before that, he's going to screw with them, lifting the carpet and throwing them all into a cauldron. They start screaming in terror as it's very hot, while he tells Rudy that the exit is over there and he should run to it. He gets very excited, thinking that these witches are really stupid, and several damage notifications begin to appear. But at that instant, a snake approaches our boy, wrapping around his leg, and Fogo says that this human is useless. He won't die alone. As he starts complaining that this is crap, that serpent tries to attack him, so he realizes he forgot that his character is extremely weak, but Rudy, who hasn't left yet, says he will help him. He grabs his sword and cuts the snake, saving our boy. While he asks if he's alright, Hayon says yes and asks Mr. Rudy if he can borrow his bow. The boy asks if he's good with bows, and as soon as he gets the bow, he says he's a little good with it too. He aims at something, which is that pot above their heads, and after shooting at the pot, it breaks and falls on the girls. Meanwhile, Reijuju, trembling with fear, tells them to wait, saying that this isn't good. Fogo asks what the hell that is, and she, very worried, says that this is her acid bomb. Fogo, shocked, asks if she really made something like that. That acid bomb starts falling on the girls, and just at that moment, their whole house goes up in flames with a massive explosion. After the house explodes, the two stare at the destroyed house, and that's when Rudy asks if he actually took care of them. At that moment, the status general appears, saying a quest has been completed and he defeated the witches of the Hazel Forest, earning over 300,000 experience points and also 5,000 achievement points, leaving Day 1 very surprised because he really took care of them. Rudy says that this is very good, and our story gets very happy, drooling, saying that this was a lot, but a lot of luck. All he has to do now is get that. And so Rudy says he thought they were going to die. He was really amazing, so even if it's not much, he asks if he would accept this gift as gratitude, while the window says he obtained the red dragon fruit and he gets pretty excited about it. Thinking it was unexpected and he didn't remember it from the previous gameplay, this Rude speaks about how valuable they seem. He picked up from the witch's nest, and quickly, Jason snatches those fruits from his hand, and now you begin to eat them all, ignoring him. At this moment, the window indicates that he now possesses a dragon bone with great power, and his life bar has been updated to 220. He is very excited, thinking he managed to increase all his stats above 100, and it was indeed a stroke of luck, while Rudy just stared, quite happy, thinking this kid isn't half bad. He looks at Jason, asking if he is interested in hunting monsters. The system alerts that a relationship route with the monster hunter has been unlocked. After he says this, John ponders about it, and after swallowing the fruits, he only apologizes, but there are some things he needs to do. Rudy remarks that he is not a busy young man. However, at that moment, John realizes something. Taking the exchange isn't an opportunity for him, and he has no class, so all this massive experience has nowhere to go. If he leaves it like this, it will disappear in just 1 month. This Rude states he is leaving now, but our boy stops, saying that 3 months is enough. He asks if 3 months will be sufficient, but Rude replies no, and it needs to be 3 years. After a few days, Rude will start teaching him and says that first he should enter the forest and hide wherever he wants. He will give him 30 minutes, while Jason thinks that it's about monster tracking skills, the hunter's skill tree, and he evolves quite quickly. But this Rude underestimated him because he is a veteran player. He has explored this forest numerous times. He remembers everything, even the best things, and these trees are dense and confuse his sense of direction. The poisonous pores of the mushrooms are spread out. The fierce beasts are more dangerous than the witches, and most of it is etched in his mind. Furthermore, with the red dragon fruit, his physical skills are almost maximized, and he isn't going to find it that easy. Yet, to Jason's shock, Rude easily found him with tremendous ease, and quite cheerfully states that he earns 50 points because he put in a lot of effort. While Jason, very surprised, asked how the hell he did that, Rude, with a grin, says he is dying of curiosity. He comments that it's been a long time since he had such a fun student. He tells them to start over, and Jason must hide again. After a while, he finally completed the Hunter's Trot, and his mission has been updated to the Hunter's Trials. And after training for quite some time, he acquired the Monster Hunter class and skills in herbalism, intermediate fencing, survival, marksmanship, and several other abilities. He gets really excited looking at them and says that yes, they have to work together. Finally, 3 months have passed as Rudy, quite surprised, wonders if he has finished mastering everything. Jean says yes, but if he still doesn't believe it, he should hide somewhere, calling him master. Rudy says that he always admires his spirit, so now he will hide, but if John doesn't find him in an hour, he should prepare dinner. John replies that of course he is very much looking forward to it. Once Rudy hides, he is on top of a mountain, saying that he is happy to have found such a good apprentice as him, but he shouldn't make it too difficult. If Rudy hides near a cliff, he wouldn't find him. After an hour, in the corner of the screen, our boy is just staring at him while gripping his leg. Rudy is very shocked looking down, and Jean, in his demon mode, says he finally found him. Rudy wonders what the hell this is. On the second attempt, our hero found him again. On the third, also. On the fourth, he found him again, and on the fifth time, he headed towards a very secluded mountain, saying he would never find him there. And of course not, because that place is the nest of an infernal hound. Right behind him, our boy says that earthquakes awaken sleeping infernal hounds, and that he shouldn't worry. Grabbing his shoulder, he asks if he passed, while Rudy, quite nervous, says yes. After a while, they start to chat. Rudy says he is amazing, having mastered these skills in just 3 months. Our excited hare says it's all thanks to his master, but Rudy insists no, he is very talented, as our boy thinks that in fact, this was a furious combination of 5 hits. He, with that arrogant face, says it's all because of him, and that he helped a lot. He thinks he actually leveled up using the massive experiences from the witch hunts. At that moment, Rudy says he even remembers the monster ecology tips he gave him. Our story thinks it's obvious. After all, he is the real author of Monster Ecology. Rudy, very excited, says he has never met anyone like him before, and that he will definitely go far. He asks what he will do now, and if it will be that task he mentioned earlier. Jean says he will first earn some money, and it all starts with gold coins. Rudy says that's great, and in fact, he has a very close friend who works as a mercenary and would like to try working as a mercenary too. Did you find a story like this? In fact, this proposal is quite intriguing and could be a good starting point. Working as a mercenary is a good option for initial income, and even more importantly, it's free and flexible. And if he's lucky, he might even meet the guardians of this game. Feeling disheartened, he says yes, he will be a mercenary for now. Rudy tells him he's amazing, gives him a badge, and instructs him to take it as it's his old mercenary badge. With this, his friend will recognize him and wishes him good luck, calling him valiant. And our eager boy says yes, calling him master. He thinks it's perfect since he defeated the witches and even earned a class. This is an excellent start, and at this pace, even the happy ending of this damned game might not be out of reach. As he remembers the words of the one who asked if he didn't want to see the true ending, perhaps it truly exists. He stares at his window and realizes the logout function is not activated. This must be the thrill of a death game, so he will make the most of it. He just tells that damn thing to wait, as he swears he will certainly reach the true ending of this game. And now it's another location, in the middle of the universe. Someone starts laughing while watching everything on a small television, commenting that it's very hilarious. The witch's dodge was truly priceless, and he's very happy just watching him like this. But at that moment, another woman appears behind him, asking if it's him. He's definitely not an ordinary guy. Here she asks if she's into him or something like that. She introduces herself as Valporga, and this beautiful woman behind him just stares at the television and tells Aquila that she is a goddess. So why would she look at a man she should protect anyway? That very cheerful one asks why not. He's really cute. But the goddess looks quite serious, and Aquila asks why she is always like that she used to be more fun, but Valporga says that was a long time ago, and asks if, by the way, she really paid his debt. Aquila replies that yes, that was settled ages ago. Then she asks why that poor guy doesn't even know she paid his debt and is still working to pay it off. Aquila just says that's it, and the goddess says she is very cruel, but the girl asks why, since it's very entertaining. She should just look at him, he's so full of life. The goddess says she is truly horrible, and that cheerful one just thanks her, but Valporga asks if he's also part of her plan, or just another plaything. Here, she smiles at what she says and doesn't say anything for a while, but then confidently states he's more like a promising talent she is very motivated to cultivate. So, she must keep an eye on him for now. And now the scene returns to the forest on a very exhausting day, wondering why this damn forest is so tiring, and this body couldn't even handle its 12-hour hike. But now it's time to head straight to the mercenary guild, which is right ahead of him. He walks towards the city and enters a restaurant, where several waitresses welcome him to Francois, the best tavern in Frankfurt. She asks him how she can assist the dear customer, and he, blushing, says that he is actually looking for someone, and she states that she understands and will show him to a table when he thinks about how expected this is. This tavern is the classic place to get information, drinks, lively people, and an amazing smell of good food. If any place has information about mercenary life, it will be this place, as people always talk too much the merrier they are. And above all, the waitresses are very cute. Excited, he asks if they know someone named Ubis Chat, but as soon as he says that, everyone panics, trembling at the base, while he wonders what that's all about. The waitress, shaking, calls him sir and says that name should not be spoken around here. As he asks why, the other waitress mentions that he is very dangerous and that her boyfriend got involved with him once, ending up like a mummy. When the hell is very scary, he asks what the hell that is, and the others confirm that yes, there are several other people who have suffered because of him. After he says that, the joy in the tavern diminishes as he wonders who on earth Mr. Rodeo introduced him to, and that frightened waitress says he needs to run because he will arrive at any moment. As he asks how come, he bumps into a wall and wonders what that was. But that wall is actually a man who introduces himself as Ruby Schatz, the person he is looking for. And this Ruben stares at that badge and asks what it is, and if that's not the badge of Mercenary Rodeo, so he must be the guy he mentioned. Enthusiastically, he says that's perfect, as he was looking for a slave. No, actually a companion to help him. While feeling tremendous fear, he asks what that was and what he just said before. Ruby responds that yes, it's just a little joke of his, while our girl thinks that Rodeo is definitely going to be dead the next time they see each other. And the two begin to walk through the city, while he wonders if, in the end, he's an usher who will be led into the war between the Elector Prince and the forces of Pisamote. And Ruby says yes, he understands very quickly, while our protagonist thinks that even though it seems like he is being Smuggled to the army of some country, this is actually a great opportunity. The Elector Prince is a guardian of the game and the issue voters, and through him, he can gain information about the other guardians. At this moment in the city center, trumpets are playing and the Ruby speaks here, talking about him. Here comes that guy, and this is the procession of the Elector Prince, as the Elector Prince rides on his horse. The Ruby's quite excited, says he would fit in well with that group. Our boy thinks it's different from what he expected, and wonders if that is really the current Elector Prince. In fact, he looks like a villain, but he is very shocked to see the other person, while he wonders what she is doing there. A blonde knight has noticed, next to the Elector Prince, riding on her white horse, while Dijon wonders what Lady Valpurgis is doing there. His Elector Prince stares at the girl and asks if something is wrong with her. She seems somewhat distracted, but she looks at him and says no, it's nothing much. The prince says that the battlefield awaits them, and she just says yes. When Dijon back there thinks that she is part of his team from their previous gaming sessions, but he couldn't save her any of the times, and it always ended the same way. Thus, Rubies looks at him and asks if something is bothering him, but he says no, while he confidently thinks that this time, even if he has to risk his life there, he will find an ending where she stays alive. Now, the training field of the mercenary guild. Several guys are training, while Dijon thinks that this quite hint. Rubis start shouting that it is about to begin. This is the perfect timing. They are selecting the group leaders through fights, and money is also at stake. Dijon thinks that yes, pride money, mercenaries are always like that, but all he has to do is hire the Elector Prince. He thinks should be just fine now. However, Rubis calls him and says that he will also participate, making our boy tremble in his boots. He, all excited, says of course he will participate and there's no way Rude would send some idiot. While our boy wonders if he doesn't care for his consent, at that moment, Ruby starts telling everyone that the rookie has appeared and asks who wants to go meet him. Everyone starts getting really excited, saying it's fresh meat and they should go first, while Dijon wonders if he can't even refuse. So he thinks he will have to use a little of his power to stop all of them. After a while, the opponent has been found and they are face to face. This confident mercenary says he is Max and that it's a pleasure to meet him. He asks what the problem is with his body, and with his strike, he can split in half, while Dijon thinks he has a dirty mouth and that his body gets a lot of likes on Insta. And interrupting everyone, Rubies asks if they are ready, so they must start now. And after a few seconds, that mercenary Max charges at our boy with the intent to exterminate him. But after a few meters, his sword flies into the skies as everyone is shocked by our boy defeating him in a single move. The mercenaries wonder what the hell just happened and how he defeated Max with a single blow. But the devil thinks that this was expected. After eating red pitayas, his strength is at the level of an ogre. At this moment, everyone gets really excited, saying they also want to fight him, and that Torianao thinks it's nonsense. They are completely crazy, but he says it will be one at a time, and if he defeated one of them, they would get an intermediary. And then, with the monster trapping technique, finally a really strong guy appears, saying that this is absurd, and they are embarrassing themselves against a newbie. This is Mercenary Charlotte, and Dion is like a train at the base, staring at him, wondering what this size is and if he is really human. This should be too much, and he just thinks that now he has to log out. But when he falls onto the window, he realizes that the log out function is cancelled, so he remembers he can't log out, all thanks to that damn Aquila. So he just asks Charlotte for a minute, who just says he is not Fernando and wants to fight now. And Jane just thinks that yes, he has terrible luck, but since the situation is like this, there's nothing to be done, so he must fight properly. He grabs Charlotte's arm and then seizes his clothes. This move is called Remorse of Monsters, throwing Charlotte against the ground, knocking him out, while John thinks he is very, very heavy. After defeating Charlotte, everyone gets really excited, and even Rubies blushes looking at him. At this moment, they start shouting, saying that this is unbelievable, and that he defeated Charlotte, the strongest there, and he is really a monster. They begin to grab him, saying he is amazing, while our area thinks he just wants to rest a bit. But Rubies goes up to him, telling everyone to get out of the way, and he, with this psychopathic face, stares at our boy. While Dion wonders if he really wants to take the learning from his friend, Rubies, very excited, says he was very good, so he is the chosen one. He is the new leader of the group for this battle, the Valuester of Value. While DMO wonders what is going on there, the very next day, everyone is in their armors and ready for battle, being obviously led by our boy, who is very nervous holding his small dagger. After that, the scene cuts to the middle of the war. With that Ruby screaming that they must attack now, the entire army charges into battle, fighting against various monsters. Our boy, at the center of the fight, begins to slay several of them while thinking that they are now aligned with the forces of the Electoral Prince. He recalls the previous day when the Ruby had said they would be in direct confrontation with the Demon King Bezemo's orc army. His mission is quite simple: to steal the enemy commander's military flag. The plan is very practical. When their forces break through the enemy formation, they will pass through that opening and collapse their lines. But they must remember that the orcs are very proud and not only strong, but they also possess great coordination. He points this out to our boy at the back, saying that his job as the group leader is to stop them. They have already seen two massive orcs facing our boy, but he quickly dodges their strikes while attempting to counterattack. He wonders what kind of teamwork this is, and they can't be ridiculous. The only thing he was planning to do was to earn a little military merit and run away afterward. Now, in the orcs' cabin, one of the soldiers reports to the commander that their spearmen are being overwhelmed. His captain says this is ridiculous, that their spearmen are elite. He tells the soldier to relay this information to him. The captain positions himself in a tower and begins to observe them from afar, very surprised, asking, "What the hell is that? Who the hell are these crazies?" Upon seeing this scene, Captain Arqui starts to go into shock and tells the musketeers to line up now and shoot at them. However, quickly, the soldiers begin to protect themselves with their shields, while our girl thinks that these muskets are very pathetic. Without rapid fire, these muskets have to alternate the lines of shooters. The captain tells the front line that the fire is complete and that the second line should go ahead. At this moment, our boy notices the gap and charges at all of them, along with his shield and his soldiers behind him. He orders them to destroy everyone. An hour earlier, someone asks, "What the hell is this? This shouldn't be possible. How are they being annihilated by this weakling? These bastards can't possibly be human, for sure." And this is the soldier holding the flag. This flag carries the pride of his tribe's history, and he cannot allow it to be stolen. Three have come charging at him, and after a few seconds, he is finished off. Everyone begins to celebrate, saying that the leader of their group has captured the mega flag and that he is amazing, while our protagonist thinks that now he has to hold on a little longer because he will gain more military merit. But to everyone's shock, they hear a trumpet, and the soldier says to the leader, they have more news and their allies are retreating, leaving our hero in shock. But the worst part is yet to come. They want the reinforcements of the orcs to be arriving at the front line. The giant starts to sweat cold, thinking that victory was just around the corner, so why the hell are they fleeing now? The soldier behind, very scared, asks the group leader what they should do now and if they should leave the flag and run from the enemies. But the giant asks what he is talking about, while the soldier, very frightened, says that they are already surrounded by a crowd of orc soldiers staring at them all. At that moment, the captain of those soldiers speaks up, saying that it's over and that this is the hidden boss, the great orc General Kalyan. As Kalyan tells the brave human warriors that they should surrender and retreat now, he states that these are his proud elite soldiers. If they return now and leave the flag with him, he will honor their bravery and spare their lives. However, John grabs the flag and says he doesn't believe them. He says that if Kalyan takes another step, his flag will go into Charlotte's underwear drawer, leaving that orc completely seething with rage, asking how he can do something like this with his sacred flag. But John asks if Kalyan really thinks there are rules in war, and if that means victory, he will do whatever he wants with his flag. And the orcs behind speak to their captain, but the captain doesn't care. He orders them to get ready now, pointing their weapons at everyone. He commands his orcs to fill the humans with bullets, and they begin to shoot at them, aiming for the flag. And the giant in the middle receives a notification, realizing that his intimidation has failed. He sees his soldiers getting hurt badly and unable to defend themselves against the crowd. He thinks this is bad. They really brought the great general here, and there's no way he can face this monster with his current fame and rank. He becomes very nervous, wondering what he should do, and he starts recalling his past, along with his companions, when he was still absurdly strong. But those memories were shattered by that damn psychopath, that demoness Aquila. And after experiencing a panic attack, the soldiers come to him, saying they need orders from their leader or they will be annihilated. And the giant says, all right, starting to tremble with a little smirk as he begins to laugh in the midst of the war, frightening everyone. At that moment, our boy grabs Charlotte's trumpet while Charlotte says that no reinforcements are coming, but our time is just to tell him to shut up, as he knows what he's doing. And as he gathers his breath and blows that trumpet, an immense sound is heard by all, but he wonders what he is doing. While the soldier next to him says that this opposite direction is where their allies come from, one of them says he knows and just tells them to shut up and block the bullets, as he thinks that now they are on the same path, he is that one, and if she has honor, she wouldn't abandon him. After all, he is still her VIP. But witnessing this scene, General Walk orders the spearmen to advance and kill that orc from before, who is charging at our boy, claiming he is the arch enemy of his people. When that huge spear is right above our hero's head, something cuts the orc's throat, coming from behind the enemy army. That horseback knight starts to soar above everyone, making them not give up. She commands them to raise their swords, speaking to all the soldiers. At that moment, General Walk states that this fight is between him and Gondaniver from Bayern, and it is a noble fight, while the girl asserts that he is an honest being, but still unworthy, and she charges at General Walk. General Walk manages to block her sword while trying to counterattack, and John back there realizes he is truly amazing. They are on the same level, although Valpurgis, since the early stages of the story, is still very strong. At that instant, Valpurgis lands a blow to the orc's belly, causing him to realize she is indeed strong. But when he realizes it, she goes to kick him right in the face, sending him flying to the side, and he becomes very furious after receiving that blow, saying that this girl is incredible, not only in her fencing, but her combat with the Paku is truly fantastic. He must be Valpurgis's brother, and being from the military order, it makes sense. The girl says she serves God with all her heart, while General Walk asks if she is serious. The girl says they are wasting time there, and again charges at that monster, as he blocks her attack and gives a wicked grin, getting very excited about the fight, already trying to finish it. To his shock, the girl makes a great jump. After she lands, she strikes trying to split the orc in half. Thus, the orc falls, saying it was a great fight, while all the orcs behind wonder what the hell is happening and how this could be possible. But the soldiers start to carry the captain, saying he lost and they must retreat, while our hero stands very surprised, staring at the girl, thinking that even this monstrous commander was defeated with a single blow. So this is the power of Lady Valpurgis. She truly is still very amazing. Thus, the orcs begin to retreat from the battle, while the girl approaches our hero, asking if he is the leader of the mercenaries. And she managed to feel her courage, and her name is Valpurgis, while Daon hides his surprise and says it's a pleasure to meet her, and his name is Valor, and he says it's a pleasure, Mr. Valor, and Levi Downcast says that if it weren't for her, they would be dead, realizing that at this moment he is no longer the elect Steel, so he must be very careful. But she asks him what's on his mind, telling him to look to the side, with all the mercenaries calling him leader and showing the enemy flag, while Charlie, very excited, talks about it, and the notification appears, saying that his credibility among the mercenary corporation has increased. And Johnny is quite surprised, wondering if it was really because of him that they almost died. And he didn't have much to do since he was weak, and he, trembling, says he understands what scares the soldier a lot. And at that moment, our hero gets very excited and starts shouting with joy, saying that this is his flag now. And the girl in the back looks at him very happily, while all the soldiers start to celebrate. Now, back at the tavern, Francois, a little girl, bursts through the door, calling for Charlotte, and she is tired from running so much, but only notices that brute sitting at the table. As she, smelling fresh, approaches him, she asks if he went to another war, and if he got hurt, but Charlotte says he's fine, and that calms her down, while our girl asks Hobbs who this girl is, if she is his daughter, but he says no, and she is only 15 years old. He says it's not true, but tells her that she is his younger sister, Batiste. While Batiste stares at our boy with a very cute face, she goes over to Jaime and starts threatening him, saying that because of him, Charlotte ended up like this, and asks if he can pay for a good doctor. But Charlotte tries to calm her down, saying that thanks to their leader, they returned alive, which surprises the girl, and everyone says it's serious. If it weren't for him, they would have been lunch for the ox, and they were all saved by this guy. They toast to long life for Valor, and our boy, very embarrassed, says yes, he should just eat his subordinates. But while they celebrate, another person enters the tavern, that knight from before, and our boy, still shy, just stares at the girl and wonders what Valpurgis is doing here. Thus, after a few hours at the advanced base of Hefen, our boy and the girl head to the main cabin, while she says the elect Steel himself summoned him there, and it seems he wants to award him military honors. Zhao says he understands, while she asks if this isn't amazing, and as a mercenary, this is the greatest honor possible, but he notices that she seems a bit different from before. She appears happier, and he tells the girl that she seems happier than him, calling her Conda. But she quickly tells him to call her Valborgs, and as soon as they arrive, she orders him to look around. These are the soldiers who were saved by his efforts, and without his bravery, they would all be dead. They are citizens of the Empire and are alive thanks to him. Then she asks if by any chance there is any other reason to be happy, and so he understands and remembers the past, that moment when she faced everyone for him. Valpurgis really hasn't changed. The only thing that has changed is their relationship, as now he is merely a mercenary. Finally, he arrives at the prince's cabin, while Valpurgis tells your majesty that she has brought the Valor, and that fellow says she did a good job. So this is the much acclaimed Valor. He says it is a pleasure to meet him, and that he can call him his elector. His name is Felipe, he already knows his power, and the day says it is a pleasure to meet him while reflecting on the encounter with a true guardian. He has an immense presence. This prince said he was known as Death of the Field. His courage is incredible, and he is like a brave lion. John just says he is flattered by that, but the prince says the man of merit must be recognized. He will give his companions about 100 florins, and to him he will give 300 florins. Our hero kneels and says that one day he will repay such generosity. The prince says surely and asks if he needs anything else. Our hero says he has a request, and the prince asks what it is. The diary says he would like to reunite with his companions and go rest at Vinder Bay. The prince says Vinder Bay is a bit far from here, but he still allows it and says he should grab a wagon from the shed and use it as he wishes. He replies, yes, thanks, but the prince notices he hasn't left yet and asks if he needs anything else, while Jason thinks that normally he would back down there, but he looks at the girl excitedly by his side, so he tells your majesty that if it's not too much, he wants to ask something. The prince becomes quite serious and tells him to say what it is, while Jason looks him in the eye and asks what his true thoughts are about this war. After he says this, everyone wonders what he is talking about, while Our Lady thinks that, as expected, everyone was confused. And that's good, there's nothing to be done. He is merely a mercenary, and your prince stares and asks what he thinks about that. Our Lady says that with his limited vision, he doesn't think much of anything, but there is something that worries him. Meanwhile, that guard asks what kind of crap a mere mercenary can be worried about, and they say yes, really nonsense. He must have caught some gossip and wants to spill it to him. Only Valpurgis interrupts everyone, telling your majesty that there's a saying that goes, never judge a book by its cover. She asks what he thinks about listening, and he is just like that one with the hair on one side. He asks how she talks to your majesty this way, but the prince appears, telling his uncle that she is the niece of the Elector of Bavaria, so he should respect her. And oh my, reconsidering as expected, she is really very nice. After calming his uncle down, he tells our boy to share his vision about this war, and if one day she gets really nervous, she takes a breath and tells him that an ambush is coming, which shocks everyone, especially the prince. He asks what she means, an ambush, and what is her basis for thinking that. And John says that, well, the main strategy of King Demon Pesimoth has always involved ambushes and betrayals. He should take into account the war happening 10 years ago and the battle against Marquis now 6 years ago. In both cases, they can see that his tactics were decisive in the wars. So with that said, they should be careful with betrayal strategies and the like. The prince glared and asked if he is really saying there's a traitor among them now. And oh my, he just says he's considering it, and it doesn't hurt to be cautious. And the prince quite arrogantly says that's true, it doesn't hurt. And he says he is indeed quite bold, and he should listen carefully. The only reason his head is still on his body is because he allows it. He should understand and know his place. And Valpurgis attempts to speak, but our boy interrupts and says he understands. Then, when she gets very nervous seeing our boy and noticing the curve again, she apologizes for her mistake and states that since they've given him permission, he will take his leave. After he leaves, John thinks he is quite strange. Before, the Elector was much more prudent, but this time he is much more arrogant, so there's definitely something wrong. This time. First, there were the red dragon fruits that normally should have appeared much later, and also Valpurgis, who should have appeared right in front, and everything is completely different from before, so they realize that this might mean something. But at that moment, someone calls him Lord Valor, and our boy realizes it is Valpurgis. She is quite tired from all the running, and says she finally found him. While he asks what Lady Valpurgis wants with him, she says he was quite fast. He asks if by any chance she ran after him because he was worried. He is quite cheerful and says of course, while noticing she is surely very cute. Thus she says she apologizes for the words favored by Elector Felipe, and that if he wants anything, he should tell her. For her, what he wants is for him to start looking at her legs. He asks what she means anything, and he asks if she isn't being overly confident. What if he asks for something completely abnormal, but she just tells him not to underestimate her as she sells the grand family of the empire. And he says yes, money is not a problem, and she must have several outfits. She asks what he means, but after thinking about it, he stops and just tells her that he wants a feather and a pistol. And she, worried, asks if that's all he wants, and if he is really sure. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but he says yes, she shouldn't worry. It's just that he tells her through tears that his dream is to become a knight, and he learned to use that to learn how to ride. And the pistol is kind of his dream, and he asks why he's crying, but he just says it's raining and it's not crying. He's quite excited about that he's never seen someone as good as him before, while inside he thinks he has given up on a lot just to help others, and he doesn't say that's not the right place to talk about it. Then she grabs his arm and just tells him to follow her, or to surprise her. Our clever boy means no harm to the people, and he schemes with him, and he gets more and more embarrassed staring at the girl. And now, sometime later, on the battlefield at the peak of Harfin, the squire Felipe against the whirlwind Pesamote. The two armies are facing each other, while Felipe says this is the day. They will kill Pesamote. Meanwhile, the Demon King on the other side asks if anyone can freeze his mouth because he can feel his breath all the way from there. But the demon butler next to him tells his lord that the preparations for war are complete, and the Demon King says he did a good job, only that the butler asks if it's really wise to use that woman, and the Demon King asks if he's really going to ask that again. But the Demon King says that if they capture the Elector Felipe, he will be a valuable hostage and they'll give him to that damn pervert. But he stops thinking about that right then, as he receives a call on his ring while saying that, speaking of the demon, she has appeared. And on the other end of the line, the girl tells him she is ready, that she can start the operation. And the Demon King says, alright, she did a good job, but he gets quite nervous, and then just tells her to take it easy on him while she asks what he means and how far she can go. But the Demon King himself, very nervous, just tells her not to overstep. She, quite animated, asks what that is, and when did she ever overstep? She always takes it easy and never surpassed any limits. While the Demon King and his demon butler are quite nervous, just thinking about them, psychopaths. And now, at night, still amid the war, our boy is riding on his horse. He thinks this is incredible, and his name is Fio, and he's quite fast. Just thinking about his horse for a duel is quite fitting for the lady of the stables, and she even gave him a rather expensive potion, the perfect healing potion that costs 1,000 florins. But just then, an explosion happens right behind him as he realizes they've already begun, so he needs to hurry, and even someone like the Solitor won't be able to handle this. He's probably going to charge in without mercy, like an idiot. But there's still a chance, except in reality, there's no chance at all, because he's truly an idiot. And his own uncle, the Demon King, is laughing at him while staring at him, realizing he's a complete fool because he's just been betrayed. This is the prince who asks his uncle why he betrayed him like this, and humbly to do something like that, even being a knight of the empire. While his chubby uncle says he won't be able to understand, he should listen carefully. What he did was conspire with the rebels against the emperor, and he, noticing this, decided to cooperate with Pesamote for betrayal, like Suelito. He asks his nephew if he understood while making a cutting gesture across his neck, questioning if that makes sense to him. If it happened, his reading to be a hero makes no sense whatsoever, and who would believe such a thing? But the Demon King steps on his head and asks if by any chance he's going through puberty or something like that. He should just accept reality, calling him a lunatic, and orders his servants to capture him, while the Elector Steel, who was supposed to be a hero again, becomes very afraid and runs off. The servants should stay away from him. He claims he is a noble elector, but the Demon King tells him to shut up because he's talking too much. To his shock, Adama Valporgus appears right in front of him, kicking the Demon King in the face, and he gets very angry, saying that it's a damn hassle that Cursed One has shown up, and if she orders that Her Majesty be escorted further away from there. While that uncle tells Pesamote that Felipe is escaping and they must capture him, the Demon King just tells him to shut up because he's seeing this. He starts speaking into his ring to ask if Rexal is ready because he's going over there. She asks if it's that fast, and the Demon King asks if she's not ready, but she says she is, so she should have a little fun with him, but the Demon King orders her to take it seriously and start her work now. She says yes, and she's quite excited, but it's time to begin. They must be very hungry, staring at several drooling demon dogs, longing for food, while she just tells them they should catch him. And now, elsewhere, the demon dogs are following our boy as he takes out each one of them. While thinking it is obvious that she would use zombie dogs, she suppresses the strength of her enemies with them and devours them slowly. Thus, another monstrous dog came to bite our boy, but he elbowed it right in the stomach and then blew its body apart with a shot, saying he knows how Rex fights and that there aren't many of them around. Then the rest went after Felipe. He doesn't care about dying. He only cares about Valpurgis, so he thinks he needs to run as fast as possible to save that girl. Thus, Valpurgis listens to the prince while the dogs appear to block his path. This prince realizes his mana control is terrible and must have been his fault. It was a cheap little trick. However, to his surprise, one of those dogs charges to attack him and he trembles in fear at the sight of a dog lunging towards him, but Ava Pug steps in front and cuts off the monster's head, then kicks it away while asking if he's okay. He says yes, he is fine, and she mentions that they are in unexplored territory, so humans rarely come here. They must be careful. As he agrees, to his surprise, he hears someone shouting his name while his lady calls for help, begging him to save her. But he is extremely shocked by this scene, with blood splattering on his face, while Valpurgis tells him to wait a moment as she will go there right away. But the prince shouts for Lady Valpurgis to stop this, leaving her behind, trembling in fear and sweating nervously. But she asks what it is like to leave someone behind and says that her companion is no different from them. He says their lives are more important than hers, while Lorena wonders what he is talking about. This is not the duty of a noble. She remembers the day before that if she had listened to use valor, this wouldn't have happened, and that it is all their fault for having ignored it. But to the girl's surprise, something grabs her neck, while a voice says that they are very predictable, and that demoness appears right next to her while shouting for your majesty. But she realizes he is really pathetic. He didn't even look back and kept running while being pulled from his horse. The demoness said they were fooled by having someone like him as their elector, but the demoness says that to be an elector, you need to be strong. She asks if that isn't true for your little sister. Hearing this, Ava Pugs demands that she take back what she just said. Electors are important as they hold the right to elect the emperor of the empires across generations, and each of them is like an emperor in their own electorate. It is a position that should never be taken lightly, but that demoness still cares about her and just tells her people to keep following Felipe while they say yes, and she, with her whip, says she thinks of good. She comes from an electoral lineage too, and this one, she asks herself what she will do now since she just got caught. Zappapox gets really mad and charges at her, saying she is a bastard, but the demon quickly dodges his blow, while she wonders what is happening and how she did that. But at that moment, she gets whipped on her back while the demon starts laughing, saying, "That sound is very nice, and that makes her want to play with this girl even more and torment her further." He continues laughing while whipping Valpurgis, and Valpurgis falls to the ground, being whipped while she starts to cry and sees her reflection, thinking of Lord Valor, because if it were him, he would probably overcome a situation like this, but it seems she can't get there, and the demon keeps laughing, saying she still wants to continue. But to the girl's surprise, she hears the sound of a gunshot, and when she looks to the side, wonders what that is, as her dogs have just been shot. While she is asking what that is, it should be a dog corpse, but right behind her, our hero appears, already punching her in the face, sending her flying away. And after she falls to the ground, Valporosa realizes that commotion and looks back. She sees our boy and starts crying, asking if it is Lord Valor, and she says that it really is him, that he is like a hero. And after witnessing a lot of pain, she simply falls to the ground unconscious. Meanwhile, the story goes to the girl and notices that she is badly injured, but the demon from the other side realizes that he was the one who attacked her zombie dog and hit her at an absurd speed that she didn't even notice. And this guy is definitely not ordinary, and so he says that she is still very perverted, sent her from Rexall. He is quite surprised, asking if he knows her, but he points the gun at her and that makes her not speak casually with him, with that disgusting face. But she chuckles and asks if he really has a gun, asks if that thing has a bigger shell than hers, and warns that he better aim well because her whip is much faster than he can load a bullet, but he puts his finger on the trigger while quickly shooting at her. But she is faster and the shot goes through her hat. She lunges at him, wrapping her whip around his neck and starts laughing, telling him to come closer. At that moment, she headbutts him in the face and then punches him in the face. With her whip, she pushes him away while saying that there is still a long way to go, trying to whip him, but he manages to dodge at the last moment and then takes a step forward and charges at her with the gun. While she asks if he is trying to get closer to her, but that is impossible, he won't succeed. But he divides all his blows, leaving her very surprised, thinking that this guy is really bizarre and his whip skills are recognized even among the troops. But he's still dividing this while getting closer. This should be impossible, but he quickly loads his weapon while she, a whore, asks if he really thinks she will let him shoot her. Only for the girl's shock, he suddenly appears right behind her, and when he just says surprise to her, she starts trembling in fear while looking back. After that, he strikes and asks how her dagger tastes. It's very thrilling, and it's because he is fundamentally a hand-to-hand practitioner, while she thinks it's a drag. She was focusing on the weapon and ended up losing her sight, and she needs time to recover. If only she had wings. Super pissed, she apologizes to him, but she's gonna have to leave now since she's a busy person, while he just laughs at her and asks if she's scared, but she says that provocation is useless and she doesn't fight while losing battles. But he points the gun at her and asks what's with that face, and today he's going to practice his long-range throw, as she starts laughing, saying that it's a bullet like that, especially in the air, it's not so easy to hit. But she goes into shock at that moment, wondering what this feeling is and why it seems there are 3 of them. But in that second she got distracted, she got shot in the ribs. As he says that, as expected, killing this demon with a firearm is the best way to do it, and as soon as she falls to the ground, he looks at her and asks why she continues to be so annoying. Now he wants to know what items this big demon will drop, but she calls him Big Brother and asks if he really wants to kill her, trying to make that cute face at him. But he just tells her to go fuck herself and asks what kind of trick that is. She just has to die, and she asks what he means by that. While he just shoots her, he defeated Rexel the Whip, an executive of the Demon Lord, and he gained Rexel's cloak, Rexel's whip, and also 2,000 florins. He thinks he practically got all his items, and it was good to have saved that product without him having sold it, so he has to hurry before it's too late. While he dude girl calls her Valpurgis, he feels very sad seeing her situation, saying that he will definitely save her. Thus, he starts to examine the potion, and from what he can see, it fully restores the physical condition of the target. So, he goes to the girl, but he is trembling, thinking that this potion has to be applied directly, which means he has to take off her armor, something he has never done before. He feels a little emotional about it, but he wants to calm down a bit since it's just a medicine, and there's no way he can think of indecent things. And if he's nervous, he goes up to the girl trying to take off her mask while remembering that everyone might have forgotten, but his real name is Ranger. His father passed away from an illness when he was young, and his mother collapsed from overwork. At 18, he was completely alone, but ahead in his life, there was a guy sprawled on the ground, saying he causes chaos whenever someone loses money, but he turns around and does this to them, while our story questions what the hell is wrong with him. He's just a pathetic amateur, and this was already Jaeyoung, 22 years old. A nerd next to him hands over the envelope, saying it's his little thank you gift, but he tells the kid that even so, this is just a temporary solution. If he has that much money, he should pay his debt first. And the kid says yes, it will be in a month, while Jaeyoung just stares at him. The kid, trembling, tells him not to look at him like that, because the mission this weekend is going to yield 10 million wons. Our leader asks, how is it 10 million wons, and if he can earn that just by playing? And the kid says yes, it's an important mission, while in fact he wonders if he's never heard of Guardian of Humanity, and the other guy says of course not, he doesn't even know what that is, and the kid starts explaining to him that he really can't believe he's never heard of it. It's a huge open world game with absolute freedom, along with impressive female designs and characters that are globally acclaimed. There are over 1 billion users, and the top ranked players earn tens of thousands of wons, and if one day someone asks him if he's really saying he makes that much money playing a simple game. The kid, very excited, says of course, while asking if he wants to try a little. But the devil says no, he's busy today. But at that moment, he gets a notification, and when he looks, it's someone canceling their appointment. So he tells the kid that he's free now, and this was the first moment entering the game. He appears in the starting city while realizing that today's technology is really insane. It looks so real. The streets and the people are very lifelike. This is a completely insane game. He begins to hear the vendor wanting to sell his fruits while thinking how real his face looks. Even his pores are visible. It's really someone amazing. He goes up to the man and grabs his face, feeling very impressed, while the vendor just tells him to back off if he doesn't have any money. But one day, I ask how come money? But at that moment, a notification pops up saying his funds are 10 florins, while he realizes that then florins are a currency here. So he apologizes to the old man and says he has none, but the beautiful little boy appears next to him. Saying that this looks tasty while the day is sunny, he and his mother appear beside him, telling their son to go now. But he stares at those fruits, drooling over them, while Our Lady says that he wants an apple. He asks how much it costs, and the vendor says it's a flower. Our Lady buys the fruit and hands it to the boy, saying he can take it. His mother is very grateful, saying he spends his precious money on his son, but Jean says it's nothing and that he can enjoy it, while she says a flower is a meal for an entire day. Our gaze realizes that it was indeed very expensive. After he says goodbye to the two, they thank him again, while he remembers that it brings back fond memories of when he used to buy fried chicken with his mother, but it's been a long time. Still, it's a very good memory, and this game is really charming. Then, after that, he started to log into Guardian Off Manager once in a while at least. When reality began to feel overwhelming, he played this game that helped him relax, completing various missions and honing his skills, until he started to log in frequently to relieve his real-world stress. Through this game, he fought monsters, went on plenty of adventures, and forgot everything that happened in his real life, running away from gangsters. He even fought against gigantic monsters, including a huge dragon. Eventually, he spent about 5 years playing this game, and it was during that time that he met someone. It was Valpurgis herself, who said she heard he had some skills. She asked him what he thought of hunting raging wild boars in the hazel forest with her. While he asked what she meant by wild boars, what was she talking about? But she was teasing him, asking if he was scared, something like that. He asked how she meant scared and if he was scared of anything. After discussing a bit, he began to hunt with her. She was very excited, hunting alongside him, calling him amazing, and he brought down that large wild boar with a single blow. But he said he didn't do it alone. She helped a lot. She was very happy to say he was very strong, that she didn't even have the chance to intervene. Then she wanted to know if he would consider joining her team to work together. That's when the notification popped up, saying that the paladin sister Valpurgis requested to join his group. He asked if that wasn't just another contract for him to do everything he did today, working for her, but she said of course not, and asked if he had trust issues or something like that, making him pretty nervous about it. But he said of course not. She was quite cheerful and said he was very funny. So okay, she will recommend him as a Knight of the Empire, which left Jayan very shocked, wanting to know who she was. And after a while, he really became a Knight of the Empire, with everyone cheering him on while I stood there with my mouth agape. I said he was very impressive, as always, and she always thought he would go very far. Then, she wanted to know how he felt being a High Elector now, and he told her that this achievement wasn't just his. If she hadn't talked to him that day, he would never have seen this. He owes a lot to her, but she asks what he means by that. These people were saved by him, and he brought peace to all. He was very amazed to hear her vision, with her talking about what their faithful citizens had done, and she really liked that a lot. Now, back in the present, the girl is still alive and says that the value is really something. She could be dead now if he had taken a bit longer. She still hasn't seen anyone with his dedication, but she wants to know if she can ask him something. As he tells her to ask, he, with that whole purple face, says that's why he loves this world so much. She starts laughing at his face, saying she noticed. He continues to say that for the first time, he realized how beautiful the sky is, even though his face is completely disfigured. She says it was his fault. He shouldn't have lifted his armor, but he says it was inevitable, as she mentions that. Anyway, they will be at the convent of Valpurga soon. He asserts that she is right and must inform them that she is still alive. She tells him that when she returns, she will definitely repay his kindness, and he is the kind of person she can't express with with words. As he, quite cunningly, says he is very much looking forward to that, he asks what he should ask for this time, but she says he is making a very perverted face. As the two head toward his territory, she tells him that, although she can't do much, the convent will definitely reward him. He says that's very good, but what he really wants is to see her face. She asks if he wants to get beaten up again. Now, at night, in the convent of Valperga, the girl finally arrives. As I ask a certain Angela what she's talking about, Mr. Valor is an honored guest of the convent, but this Angela says there's no way, and the convent is under emergency lockdown, so Mr. Valor cannot enter. Now, inside the city, at the inn near Ravenhead, our boy, lying in his room, thinks things have gotten a bit complicated. His plan was to demand the angel's heart from the convent. This angel's heart is a treasure passed down from the convent of Valperga for hundreds of years and is an S-class item filled with divine protection from the goddess. It has the power to revive the user's soul, and this item is essential, especially for that time. After he says this, someone enters his room, and it is Valpergus. He asks what she is doing there, while she expresses her regret that a guest as esteemed as he is staying in such a humble place. She asks what he is doing while he mentions he is thinking about something. Thus, she tells Mr. Vale that something terrible has happened, but it is very confidential, and he assures her that she can trust him. He will take that secret to his grave. She responds that's great, she will trust him then, and speaks to him seriously that the High Abbess has fallen into darkness, which surprises Jamel, who remarks that he just met the High Abbess Angela a moment ago, but she asks what he is talking about and clarifies that the person he met is the Vice Abbess, and the High Abbess is Margaret. As he reacts with shock, wondering how that could be, she tells him that it seems there was a traitor within their ranks. He is extremely shocked to learn that the High Abbess is now Margaret, but the girl continues saying it's likely the work of that bastard, while Jamil is very worried, finding it absolutely insane to think that Margaret is still alive. He thought she had died long ago, and that is why he didn't pay attention. The martial purity bearer is unprecedented in the history of the Empire, an icon of power that could easily crush lords and low-ranking demons, the very person who turned the convent of Valpergas into a military power. Now, he is very excited, thinking he absolutely needs to save her. At this moment, he stands up, startling the girl, while she asks why he is acting this way and what he wants to do now. But he, full of enthusiasm, asks if the other abbess really fell into darkness, and she confirms that it is indeed so. In euphoria, he orders that they go there now, as he claims to know everything about the darkness. Now, at the convent of Valpergas, inside an office, an old woman asks if he really knows everything about the darkness, and he confirms it. While she inquires if he is a trustworthy man, the Vice Abbess states that just as they trusted him this time, speaking with Vice Abbess Angela, she mentions that it seems she told him everything. While our boy finds this atmosphere very surreal, to the shock of both, she slams her hand on the table, staring directly at Valpergas, as she asks how she knows this incident was caused by a traitor. Even knowing this, she still suggests trusting this boy, a complete outsider, and states that is no reason to listen to them, then asks him to leave immediately. But Vaporetta tries to retort, and our boy calls her by name, giving a little smirk as he says he came to inform that the High Abbess is in critical condition. The woman replies that this is not a matter for him, an outsider, but he is very confident and tells her to listen to him, for believe it or not, he has already read the 7 demonic scriptures. As she begins to tremble in fear, asking how come, and this book was personally written by a holy demon. And Gil says that then she knows, and this book contains everything related to the very darkness. He is talking about the 7 demonic scriptures that disappeared from the world, taken by the great army of darkness fighting against death, while she starts to feel cold, saying she doesn't believe him. This makes him ask how he came to know about this book, and a lady says it's hard to say, for what is cursed by mentioning it. However, she must trust him, for he knows all the detailed methods to fight against the darkness itself. He begins to enter the old woman's mind, and when she goes back a few days, she starts trembling in fear with him. She, very angrily, says she understands, but claims that in return, he must remain silent about it for the rest of his life, for if he tells anyone about it, she will destroy his body and bury him in the Rhine River. Now, our hero Valpergus is being guided by Varia's sister, a nuns who are extremely muscular, while he realizes that this group is very fitness fanatic. To break that table with sheer brute strength, these women are extremely strong and smelly, that Margaret he does not know personally, but at the very least must weigh 2 tons. Ava Pugs grabs his shoulder, saying that he doesn't look very well, but he is shaking and says he's fine. It's nothing like that. He asks if her goal is also to be that muscular, and she replies that she would like to, but her uncle is against it, so she can't do it. While he says that's a relief, he finally reaches a sealed door. The old Angela says that as he can see, the demonic energy there is immense, and he must be careful not to lose his mind. He replies that he understands, and thus Angela tells everyone to stay there. She goes to the door and says she will open it now. As she opens it, an immense demonic energy pours out from the door, surrounding the place, while our hero becomes very worried. The system indicates that he is suffering mental damage from the darkness, while asking Valpurgis if she is okay, and she replies that she has the goddess's protection, so she will be fine. She asks and tells him, but he says that anyway, he will be fine, with the system indicating that the player's mind is protected from the darkness. And this Angela says that this is the High Abbess. Our boy stares at that person and is completely in shock, thinking that this is the entrance pain of an unprecedented military purity in history, the great abbess of COVID-19 Purgas. Margaret is not a bodybuilder, but rather a cute little girl. When he asks if she is really a child, the old lady replies that it is not that, and that she is quite nervous. She asks Mr. Valpurgis to please be serious, and if he really thinks they are desperate enough to ask for help. A mercenary like him, they tried countless methods, but so far they haven't achieved anything. If they can't control the darkness, she will eventually die. So she grabs him and says she will pay any price, but he pleads, please. He knows about the great abbess. He only asks that she let him go first because he can't breathe, while she just keeps apologizing. And so he says he will see her in person. She really seems to be in critical condition, as she is a cleric. The pain from the speed of the invasion is probably double that of a normal person. While Angie is crying, gritting her teeth, he touches the girl's head while saying that the black veins reaching her neck are proof of this. But he says it's okay, there's a way, and she grabs him again and asks what he means and tells him to do it right now. In the meantime, I tell her to calm down, and then she goes back to crying in the corner, while our gaze grows more irritated with her. But he calmly fixes his clothes and tells Angela that the method is simple. She must use the treasure of the convent on the great abbess. After he says this, Angela stares at the girl and says that he must be talking about the angel's heart. He understands that presumably he intends to transfer the abbess's black curse to another person and let that resolve it. However, the sacred power of curses is gradually oppositional, and during the process of transferring the curse, the death of the abbess is inevitable. Therefore, the angel's heart is necessary, and our king says that's correct. The curse is fatal for a cleric. Thus, the members of the convent cannot use this method, but he is there, a mere mercenary, which means he is the most qualified person to transfer the curse. He asks if it isn't tempting, while she very seriously says she is sorry, but this method is not an option. It is then that Abbess Margaret sends a message saying this was her darkness, and no one will be sacrificed to that darkness in her stead. If this were to happen, she would turn the empire upside down. Moreover, this is one of the curses of darkness and has an unknown cause and unknown symptoms. It truly is an incomprehensible curse, and she asks if he really thinks he can come out unscathed, while she threatens him, glaring at him with great anger, saying that this curse will torment him for the rest of his life. And Valpurgis says that's right. There is no reason for him to sacrifice himself in her place, but he just tells Valpurgis to calm down and tells Angela that he is the best choice because he has read the scripture of the 7 demons and knows darkness well. Furthermore, he is also a member of the clergy, so he is not vulnerable to darkness. And besides, he is just a stranger she just met today. And honestly, it's quite tempting. While she is very worried about this and says that when Abade wakes up, she will have big problems with it, she asks few questions. She is really going to do this on top of the Carvalho and calm down, not mess things up. After a while, that attempt finally gives her away, and he takes the ring and puts it on her finger, saying that he will keep it for later. And this is a golden opportunity to make the mark. He had a companion, and that talk is over in the corner. I ask if he really needs to do this and if there is still time, but Angela stops, saying that he is also a man. They should watch, and our boy says that the preparations are complete, so the ritual will begin. He starts to chant the spell along with the ring in his hand, placing it on the girl's head. After the last spell is said, the transfer begins, and those marks on the girl's body start to infiltrate into the Jane. As as they washed their eyes, they were very surprised by that dense, demonic energy resembling kind of the universe, and then several planets. Our hero is quickly being transported to another place while they ask if this is the realm of darkness. It is completely black. He wants to know which way is forward and which is back. But at that moment, a voice speaks to him, saying that it is he who has just arrived at the tomb and asks who dares to call him. Our boy said his name is Valor and asked this person to lift the curse from Margarete, but this being starts to laugh, saying that he is just a mere mortal who can't even perceive its form. He truly lost his sense of fear, for he will not do business with him. As our boy looks up, he shakes with fear, seeing the immense eye staring at him. Meanwhile, this being orders him to disappear from its sight. At that moment, a window appears, saying that the player's soul is protected, while Cecil wonders why he cannot extract his soul. That is impossible. Only we command him to shut his mouth and free the curse from Margarete now, transferring it to him. But this person tells him to shut up and not to make him do anything, for he will tear the souls of all who are in his space. He gets very nervous, thinking that this is bullshit. He is resorting to some cheap hostage situation, and in this case, he will also have to be petty. He says he saw the writings of the 7 demons, greatly surprising this being, asking how so. And our oracle says, of course. After reading everything, he ended up selling it, trading it for a dog. While this person says he is very vulgar, our boy said that now he is probably selling to other wise men as well for a very cheap price. He opens his arms and says that if he keeps dragging this, even the color of your underwear will be revealed today, and this being says great, he will fulfill your request, but inside he is very angry. While our story realizes that he fell for this big eye says that nevertheless there is a condition, and at that moment a notification appears saying that a mission has been generated and he must kill all the demon lords. While our story thinks that alright, he is starting to have something, he wonders if he should maybe persuade him a little more. So he says that it seems a bit too difficult for someone weak like him, and that being gets very irritated, calling him a pathetic fool, but says great, he should try to make the most of this power, and this is the power of darkness. A huge glare blinds the eyes of our hero as he asks if he is really trying to kill him, and wasn't that what they agreed upon? While this being says that there is no free lunch in this world, he must endure this great power at a fair price. While our story just commands him to stop now and wait, but when he gets strong, he will beat him up. At that moment, several windows pop up telling him BT, a class without blood, without tears, and his statistics have significantly increased. His HP has risen, mana has increased, and he also received the new skill of Necromancer. In the end, the last notification says that he died, and now, back at the convent, our hero finally wakes up in the morning, still very shocked, and wonders if he has come back to life or something like that. But he notices the ring on his finger and says, it seems like it. He trembles with excitement and begins to shout, very excited, saying its numbers lights and undead. Even the light dragon, the king of the undead who commands them, the one without blood and without tears. Among billions of players in Guard of Humanity, he is the first in the world to have this power, and it truly is magnificent. After he has this brief moment, Avapox finally enters his room, but asking Mr. Vale if he really hurt his head, but he says no, he is fine while seeing her cry. She explains to him that after the ritual, he lost consciousness and brought her into his room for a while. As he thanks her, she tells him not to do that again because it was very reckless. She has no idea how anxious she felt while he stared at her without saying anything. He takes her hand, saying that he is very sorry, Miss Valpurus, and that he will not do it again. As he promises her, she excitedly mentions that he has a promise. Just then, staring out the window, they hear a sound, and a tremendous thing passes by the window as they wonder if they are at war or something like that, and he starts to run into the forest. While asking what is happening, Angela looks back and realizes that the gentleman is worth something as he says that he then awakened, and our hero asks if the army of the defeated has come to attack or something like that. At that moment, a husband happens right behind him, scaring him a lot, and someone climbs a tree and says that he then woke up. While our heroine asks who it is, this person says that since she lay there for so long, she just wanted to warm up a little. It's good to see him, or her savior, and she is the abbess of the convent of Valpurgas Margarete, but she tells him to call her Mary. Now, little boy, the others are coming down from the name, but die while the story remembers Felipe and wonders if perhaps he has escaped from the forest. He realizes that he has finally achieved that one without blood and tears, the highest ranking for a necromancer, so he was planning to secretly kill Felipe with that power. After all, he is a guardian, and the chances of winning without the heart of the angel are low. Therefore, he cannot let his guard down until the end. But the girl ahead, very excited, says that this will be a great adventure, while Angela tells Margarete to please maintain some dignity. But I ask, what do you mean by dignity? That is the way of aristocratic society, and she only grows more shocked as she gets older. She finds Mrs. Vanderpurgis and asks if she is always this lively. Mrs. Vanderpurgis apologizes, but she is always like this, and she tells her to think that the pinnacle of military power of the convent and the oldest member is such a childish child. But she loves to criticize them both and asks what the two lovebirds are doing being so affectionate. After they play around a bit, they finally arrive at a large door, while our boy asks if this is the place, the underground depot of Valpurga, and Margarete says that since they are there, they should talk a little. She tells Valor that this place is full of all sorts of magical tools that he imagined in the convent, and it is perfect for a cursed person like him. He says he understands and thanks her for bringing him there, and she says it's nothing. If it were up to her, she would even take him on a date, while Angela tells her to stop that, but already getting into her head, telling her to stop messing around. Angela just tells her not to worry, and there's no need to be so angry. After that, she just says she's excited, so they should go in now, and as that big door opens, our hero gets very excited, thinking that now everything will go well and he will level up once again. Then, immediately, they start hunting Felipe. After he picks up some items, he says that this new equipment is very cool, while asking the horse if it liked it. And with that, he won't be outdone anywhere, and the horse starts to lick him while someone shows up asking if he's leaving. Our boy realizes that the Vaporagus is disappointed with him, and she asks about the backyard. They walked a bit before leaving, and she starts saying that they haven't known each other for very long, but it seems like she sees him as a friend. He says that he also sees her as a friend, and she just tells him to imagine what he did for her during the Orc Army battle, during the decisive battle of Rexal. He was very nice and reliable back then, and was a great help since then. So she wanted to thank him while the two of them felt quite nervous, not knowing what to say to each other. She says he doesn't seem particularly curious, while he, quite nervous, asks what she's talking about. She said he pretends to be innocent, and what she means is about his bare face under his helmet, but he asked what she meant by helmet, and he thought there should be a reason. So he ended up not asking. The girl said she understands, and actually, she has a big scar under that helmet and a mark of a curse, and she doesn't even know what curse that is. Then, her uncle desperately hid it, saying she shouldn't try to find out. He says that then that's it, but she says that because of this, she is also called the Ugly Knight, a nickname given to her by those who don't know her circumstances. She asks if he would like to see her face and is a little nervous, but she will do it for him as she feels that he would look at it attentively. As soon as she takes off her helmet, our boy is completely shocked by her beauty. While she asks how it is in his eyes and if she's not ugly, she is very embarrassed, and he, very shocked by her beauty, asks if he's not going to say anything, but he just apologizes, saying that she is very pretty. She says that this is a relief, while he wonders how this is possible and if Granny Purges really took off her helmet, but she looks at him and says that, by the way, there's something she wanted to give him. He gets very excited and asks what it is, seeing her very nervous. She says that this is the treasure of the Buyer family, which she received from her uncle. Just then, he asks why she's giving this to him, while she just said it's a touch, a symbol that means he will always be with her. Seeing this, he gets very embarrassed. While he says that this is a dream, which means he's with Valburgas, he said he will cherish it, while she says that it's a promise. He's quite nervous and says that he should go now. She wishes him good luck, and he says he should keep going that way, but she says that no, he can go first. After much discussion, new notifications appeared saying that the story hides the lineage of the Elector's family. Bear was unlocked, and the romance route with Valpurgis was also unlocked, while he gets very excited, saying that as a man, he should say that the romance route with that Valpurgis, that hater, might end up in marriage. But at that moment, he smelled something unpleasant and wondered what it was. He was in a good mood, but now there were several cups on the floor, and from the looks of it, it seemed to be the defeated army of Felipe. They had a big fight not long ago, and he tells his horse to run, saying he needs to search the area, but another notification appears saying that a new skill has been unlocked, the magic dagger of the demon Karka. As he gets very excited, saying that this is very interesting, he quickly activates his skill and commands the bloodstained followers to become his minions. Several vampires appear who kneel before him, while our story states that now it's his first mission. They must scout the entire area and find Felipe. While they say, "Glory to your lord," he points at a girl and asks what she wants. He tells her to collect all the scattered military uniforms as he has good use for them. In the middle of the night, in an abandoned town, there are two knights with that Prince Felipe, while he gets very angry, saying that it sucks to think that he, the Elector Steele, would end up in such a state and that he will never forgive them. But at that moment, someone starts speaking, calling His Highness Felipe as he came to accompany him. He begins to shout for His Highness, saying that he is the mercenary he met the other day, the mercenary Valor. Felipe gets very excited, saying it's him and recognizing that voice, but the knight in front of him tells His Highness that it's dangerous and he should observe first. Yet the prince strikes his face, telling him to shut up, saying that they are useless. He says he saw him there to save him and questions what the hell they are talking about, saying they are useless trash and look like insects. After this is over, they will all become subordinates of that mercenary. At that moment, finally, an immense broken door opens and the angry prince faces our boy, saying that he is there. While our boy is surrounded by dense energy and several vampire subordinates, he says he came through the forest to look for His Highness. The prince, excited, thanks him, saying he brought reinforcements with him, and as expected, there is no one else besides him. He will certainly reward him, but JM gives a sly smile and says there's no need for that, with his two vampires cutting the soldiers' throats. While the prince is shocked, asking what this is, and our very wicked boy says it's because he no longer needs His Highness.